its potential. So we'll be looking at how sport is actually improving the image of South Sudan on the African soil and elsewhere on the globe. And also we'll have a bit of a touch on an ongoing elections of the South Sudan Football Federation, and my colleague who is following up that closely will be giving us what is going on, as we know that voting is already taking place and we will soon get to know who will be the winner. Remember, there are only two giants fighting for the presidency, and that is the incumbent and the predecessor. And they are actually Madouat and Amin. Those two, we will see who will actually take that mantle. That's in a while. So I'm glad that we'll be discussing this with my colleagues around me, Kwang Palchang, who is a seasoned commentator, and Diko D. Andrew, who is very passionate and particularly very impressed by the women's performance at the Afro basketball. And of course, I have my colleague here, that is Daniel Michael, who has a lot of insight in the sports and he's been following closely the sports activities in the country, the competitions, and even the ongoing elections that is taking place. And it's my pleasure having all of you aboard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would love to start with you, Michael, because you have really been writing a lot of stories about all sorts of sports activities, including games, the local leagues, and also international games that are currently taking place. But we're very much interested to look further into the performance of South Sudan's in the Afro basketball, and I've already alluded to the big reward that we got due to their excellent performance in the championship, and we have got already a bronze, and now the men are battling also to ensure that they bring us at least some trophy this year. And do you see that likely?
Let me start by saying the third position doesn't just give us the bronze, actually it qualifies us to the World Cup tournament qualifications. So now our female team will join other 16 teams like South Sudan, and the other three teams, they qualify South Sudan, I think, and Senegal and Nigeria. They will join the rest of the teams from Europe and South America and Asia and Europe. So from those teams, 24 teams, they need only 16 teams. So this is another tournament where we'll be now. If we manage to qualify, then we'll find ourselves in Germany 2026 in the World Cup for women basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's really great, indeed, having the women going to that next stage, and looks like it's the first time, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually we have been invited, and that's the good things of it. Then we managed to Egypt and Uganda. Egypt has a great history in basketball, female, males. I think even when you talk about Lual was there in Egypt, in Alexandria. Alexandria is one of the biggest cities in Egypt. When you talk about sport in Egypt, the first things come to your mind is basketball. In Alexandria, Lual was there. I think also he played there before. So for us to defeat the Egyptian females and male team in basketball, I think for me it wasn't easy things, and also we managed to defeat also Uganda.
So how did you receive the news?
Actually, when it comes to the ladies, like I have seen a very great potential, because like as we mentioned, South Sudanese are always known for the bad things, but when it comes to the ladies, they're always been discouraged. Mahal takia modbak, you don't need to do this. Sport them win. But for them, stepping up and as well showing us what this country can really produce in terms of athletic or even in terms of basketball is just great of an achievement, because I cannot take only the bronze medal that we have won some couple of days ago, but going back to the history, because in 2023 we won our first international game that was done in Rwanda, and also not to forget that when it comes to the first league that women basketball have ever had.
Which game was that in Rwanda?
The first game ever South Sudanese women basketball have contributed in. The first international game that we have ever contributed for in terms of female basketball, it was in Rwanda 2023, and also in 2022 that was the first women league that have ever happened in South Sudan from 2011. So that can even tell you that, yeah, omon bada geribade, omon bada geribe, but even with them starting late, they haven't shown any resistance that they can do something. Even when it comes to the Women League launch that was done in 2022, of course, it was a fixture of 6 teams. Dejua Juveni wale Dejua June of Sudan, in which it can tell you like young women are coming to play athlete, or even they're being included into some of the sport, because like sport alana baraf de kan bes, you know, kura gadam de hajar nas baraf, like now they've been included into the basketball with 6 teams initiated by that year. It just means a lot that there is really much potential in South Sudan when it comes to basketball as a sport as well.
I think Lasuba,
Yes.
let me add it, because we're talking about the sport in general. Let's not forget, yesterday, one of our female coaches, she has been rewarded, was certified with the CAF C license in football. So also, let's forget, we have Ann Thomas. She was one of the coaches in Premier League. She was the first woman in the South Sudan Premier League to coach Lier Lion Hunters.
Why did they deserve that?
Because she know how to manage football team. It's not about because she's a woman. Because now we have almost like 4. Let's not forget Lillian also was one of the females, was coaching a team in Juba First Division League also. Now we have almost 4 or 5 female coaches in South Sudan. They are okay. Or if you talk about teams, we have many teams. Now also our national women teams also they're doing good. We qualify to under 20 African Cup of Nations. We have a match maybe next month with the one of the South Africa teams. So we're doing good in that, but our issue is the support.
Yeah,
yes, those are great insights. Now, Kong, I know some of us are not good lovers of sports, but I suppose for a country like South Sudan, saying this alone can move you because everybody celebrates and you just see that your country is doing something. Even if you don't love sport, but if your country wins, that you feel really great for your country, no matter what type of sport you select. So if you can give your reflection on the achievements so far by South Sudan, particularly the young men and women in the sports world. So how can South Sudan build on the recent success in the basketball and even including football and athletics?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad also to be part of this because of this discussion, although I'm not a fan of sport, like I don't follow throughout, but when event happen, you have to be excited to follow it up, especially when it is positive. And I will look at it in a different angle of developing a sport in the country, where this success from a sport is to many is a surprise, because we didn't believe that this will be happening. Even other world, that because we are struggling here with conflict, and when you look at the way this country is going, you'll not even when you the challenge of telling your story to outside world as it is, things that we report as a country or as a media house is also what is the opposite of what is happening, what our fellow countrymen are doing, both in women's and men, especially the basketball. So if you try to Google, in most cases, like for example, recently we heard about these alleged Palestinians, this talk that Palestinians will be brought here. So I believe they were Googling South Sudan. Somebody who have never heard, especially after the win against, this narrow wins.
Narrow defeat against the US.
The US. Yeah. Everybody Google, and I think South Sudan lead in Google, the name South Sudan led, because so many people went to Google, where is this country, okay? And when you Google South Sudan, you will find it's about a poor country, is in war, every 5 children, 2 died of malnutrition and all those things, okay? And every 10 women who give birth, 2 died, and all those things. Those are the statistics we hear. I'm not saying this is the exact statistic, but and when you Google, you find those things, and somebody will be wondering. And this is what they are reporting now, that or is a conflict, is a country at war. But our fellow countrymen in the sport are telling different, are writing, restoring in different way, in a positive way, that we are part of this world and we can do something good. And this message also should go to our leaders, because they should not sleep. Now is a message to them, to telling them, is now when you start developing a sport, because if you don't develop a sport, because the few who are playing now, the majority are the young people are, the majority are in the village, okay, in remote area. This is the original where all of us come from. And then what do you do when these people retired? Who comes next? So it's a time for us to start planning from homegrown sport, where we will start building. We had a lot of promise, including the president, say he will build a basketball as a gift to South Sudanese for the win. Those things, I think, are the things that we want to see happening, so that the only way for you to keep youth away from violence is providing a sport. You see how many, even these community sport, football match and all those things, you see thousands of them going there. It's because that's where they see themselves, they can compete and they can earn a living and all those things. And I remember one politician, a professor in the university, those days, he see young people fighting, like we have psychopaths that support this and this and this politician, yeah? But he said, you young men, don't follow this politician. Maybe you want to be a politician, but it will take, it's a long process. But there's a shortcut to the wealth, and that is sport. Just go to the ring, learn how to box. You will earn a lot of money and all those things. The same, play football, you can earn money, and forget about this handout, this small handout from politicians, so that you become the microphone making noise for them. I think the best way for our leaders now to focus on sport, as they also focus on bringing lasting peace to the country. This is what I can add.
Yes. In addition to that, I can tell that the Kalamta Mayadin, because we can be talking about they need to be doing this, or they need to go and find a type of a sport that they can rely on or get money. But let's take back to our parents, whereby how can that be fixed now? Because as like you need to go to school, but now if you go and play sport, you kura taki bidusu, you gizma taki bikudu somewhere ta kura or something. They'll just tell you something that no, sport is not for you, and sport is not going to be getting you any type of money. This is one. When it comes to our ladies as well, they are being influenced, like what type of sport are you going to do? Kura de like what type of sport that you're going to do is for men. How are we going to be changing that mindset? Coming back to the infrastructure, my idea is this is the space that they got. How are we going to be fixing that?
Let me just come to where she stopped. I think I want to add change of mindset. We need to change our mindset, and the change of mindset is now us as the media, that we have to educate our people, because I was shocked to see this girl, the star of the basketball. Her photo was going around, one of the girl, I can't remember her name. Some people were making fun that people from ABA, people from a certain region cannot afford a certain amount of cow to marry her. You know, people thinking about marrying her, and she's becoming a star. You see, that's small thinking. Huh? People are not thinking about she raised the flag of South Sudan. Huh?
Let me grab it from where Kong stopped when we're talking about this community football tournament. I think today, as you can see, that I was just attending the fourth extraordinary football SSFF, South Sudan Football Federation election. So the Minister of Sport was attending the event. He talked about this issue of community sporting. And he talked about it, they need to streamline the rules and all those things. So instead of we play those community peace tournament here in Juba, instead we can just go and play them in our own state. So it will have positive impact on the youth. The other things, like the negative part of this, it will not bring us together in unity, because like La Suba will play with the people of the area, the Kong will play, I'm going to play with my own people. But let's look at the biggest picture. For example, the Premier League now. We have derby of a will. Salam, a will is there. Wajuma, a will is there. We have derby of Wow. Al-Hilal from Wow. Al-Ghazala from... We have derby of Juba, Kator, Malakia. We have derby of Bantu, Al-Hilal, Bantu City, and Al-Marikh. But when you find there's not too much people coming to attend those matches. But when you have those community
there's so many
tournament, a big number of people, they come out to attend them. But this is the Premier League. You find the number of the people are few. Only the football lovers that the one are there. But I'm sure if you know now you're playing the same matches there in the States, you find the numbers is big.
It reminds me of the ongoing tournament. I think it's a final now of Monyomiji. Yeah, Monyomiji.
Now we have almost 4 or 5 tournaments currently going on.
I still don't understand here. So many turn up to watch tournaments that are actually to do with their people. Is it to do with their people or something else? And a few people go to attend what we call the primary leagues that are called professional games. Than the ones that are organized
team of the state.
by communities. So what do you make of that?
I think what I make of that is there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe it's because of the name, but there's nothing wrong with that because, you know, we found ourselves, nobody is responsible for us. When I say who is responsible, government is supposed to take responsibility. But these young people are left, these communities are left on their own, to me. The sport, nobody taking sport seriously. Yeah, those are national Premier League or whatever is football. But if you can create resource, because this thing also, you have resources, there's a different way you can organize them. Like the minister said, this community sport, there will be a way to stimulate them to be professional football where the love of sport will coexist peaceful than fighting, like what happened recently where people broke chairs because of two communities. It happened. The only way to do is because, that's a challenge because these people are left alone. And you find the educated people also joining them, organizing them, because they felt we need to organize ourselves. It's the same way you found some community who cannot have access to Juba are left alone there and organizing themselves. That you find they like security. They found themselves, or if we don't organize ourselves, protect ourselves, we will be vulnerable to this attack. So you say the people community arm themselves to defend themselves. The same way, community found themselves, they have no activities. Those days people dance, do what? So it's a bit of transition from our culture to the culture of sport, where we see sport as a uniting factor to us.
Isn't it also the question of identity?
Yes, of course.
This is exactly like Congo. This is the issue is here. We are not using sport, or we're not using those events to unite us. Actually, they're dividing us, because most of those sport community tournaments being found based on the tribe line. Like a community. You see, the word community, instead of we say Gabila, we just change it to community. So it feel like...
And you see most of them also, they are titled Peace.
Yes.
This kid, Community X, Peace Tournament, and they end fighting.
And actually, whatever happened,
the opposite.
An example you mentioned about Monyamiji, right? There's supposed to be a certain clan supposed to play to the final, but due to some factors that they identify that 1 or 2 players, they are from other tribe, they have to redo rematching.
Really?
You see? As when Zolta and Jelly go, Zole can mami Monyamiji, they say like, no, they have to redo the game again.
Well, Umato Barao.
and the worst part, the worst part, you know, like some politicians are using it as a leather to some positions, because if you have money to support, why don't you support your team? Team bita a will, team bita leg state, team bita wow, team bita malakal. Why don't you support those teams? Why are you supporting those community small ones?
I think the genesis of my observation, the genesis of those what we call community tournaments, most of these initiatives were by the grassroots, the people without politicians, my observation. But now these tournaments are attracting politicians, because they know this is where they get their people. And they did not initiate this themselves, that they want to bring the people closer to them. So that is a difference I found. And it looks like in future, my worry is this can be politicized, And that is why maybe we see these differences, this petty politics that is happening in the communities, people fighting during tournaments.
Yeah. But the worst part in this one is not just even because we're talking about the dividing, okay? Look at it, even we're going to play like this is our clan, this is our tribe. We're going to play among ourselves. So we defeat this clan, or this clan defeat us. Later, we're going to start writing posts on Facebook, on social media. Hate speech. So the things, instead of uniting us, now we start dividing our united community by the sport, which is supposed to unite us. Now it's become one of the factor of dividing.
Yeah,
no,
I think maybe Michael need to help us also for those. Some of us who have not been in Sudan. We were one country as a Sudan. How are those things? How was those sport clubs or whatever were they working the same way we are working in South Sudan, where you form your community through a lot of activity coming through community instead of coming through certain like creating a club, or were those community things there in Sudan?
But they were not in that way, because people used to play like, for example, let me give you the name, like this name.
Or high and high.
Let me give you the name of this one of the teams in our national, in our primary, Wajuma. This Wajuma is like Wow, Juba, Malakal. This was the name of the three teams. It was found one of the elders in from a wheel. So the name of the team was like uniting the whole teams of regions of South Sudan at that time, and with having a lot of players from all different. We used to have some tournament for the university students. So you find yourself like we have a basketball team, so we have also football teams, even in the secondary schools. We used to have some playing some tournament during Kamboni ground.
Actually, I was part of the.
Right. I think what the minister did mention is the right thing to do.
Exactly.
To ensure that the sport is streamlined. And I suppose it is now the sport ministry to take it up and organize the sports industry. And I know that we have the challenge of infrastructure.
Let me reveal one of the things he said, Lasuba.
Yes.
Like he talked about the government is planning to build like a sports science academy. It will be at Juba University. So it's a good chance for us also so we can develop ourselves in a scientific way. So this is one of the good things also the minister mentioned today on the issue of how to develop the sport. But at the same time, again, when he talked about the streamline, he said, "Well, I'm waiting for the elect of the new leadership, so they can come and sit down now and see how." Because sometimes when those peace tournaments have been organized, they have to get some referees from some of the local associations to help them. So sometimes you find let me tell you one thing. One of the players from one of the teams, there's having a match today in the Premier League. He preferred to go to play for his community matches than to go and play for the because he think like this is defending the pride of his community. But here I'm defending the team that have a lot of people from the different background. So I was surprised when I asked the coach, "Where is this play today?" He said he went to play on that tournament.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to add maybe on this community tournament and all those sport club, and let's not forget also, our constitution also allow us to, people are free for association, assembly, and all those things. But what we need is what is the intention of this community football association? Are they for good purpose, or they are there for good for bad purpose? So these are the things that we need to know. If they are there for good purpose to unite the community, then well and good. But if they are there to destroy, then they need to be also, like the way Minister said, they need to be streamlined so that we see how they can fit well and be regulated, or maybe be managed well, than causing more problem to the community.
Most of as I said earlier, when most communities, majorly young people organize this community, the intention was actually to bring, parties
them to come together,
especially small fights that are between clans or families and other things. So this was the idea, but as I said earlier, maybe because it has attracted politicians. So these tournaments run the risk of being politicized and dividing the communities further rather than uniting them. So as you said, maybe there is need to address this such that sports tournaments do not actually become, a center stage for politicians to pass the agenda.
Yeah.
And they should also aim at seeing sport as something that will that is good for the young generation, and also those who have potential skills will be able to excel. The stories of best players like those of Messi, they started playing on the streets. Practicing around their home state, and they become the best. Even Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and all these players. Those of
actually, Lasuba, when you talk about this issue, let just me grab it from where you stop. I do remember I interviewed some of the organizers of those tournaments. They talk about some of the issues that bringing the misunderstanding among the players, and like sometimes the ignorance of the rules, and sometimes when they see the reaction of the players within the field, it's like how they react to the referee. They think the referee been unfair with them, so they start fighting, and that was the issue. It's just how to change the behaviors, or like what is the aim of the tournament. Is like we come together to play together as a family as well. So it is not about who won or who lose. That is the issues here.
Okay.
What's the structure for this?
No, all those things are okay. ما في مشكلة في التنظيم.
Implementation.
مشكلتنا في إنه the reaction إنه بشوف لسوبا كورة ده is offside.
Yeah.
Kong thinking this is offside. She's from the other side saying no, she's not offside. But the referee himself say it's offside. So they start arguing here. People start throwing water bottles, chairs. Even it happened yesterday during the Super Cup.
I think it's just that the rules that are there, which is already there, it's just needed to be implemented. كان ده جاء على اللعيبة، كان ده جاء على referees، وكان ده جاء على شنو؟ على الناس المشجعين. لكن برضو أنا لسه بنرجع إنه كيفية إنه إحنا ما عندنا ميادين صراحة كده. 75% I'm still going to be mentioning about this. And إحنا generation حبنا لسه صغار. إنت mention قبل قال ناس ميسي، ناس رونالدو، برا اللي هم سكرين. هم برا على سكرين في قدام كبر، هم داير مدرسة. ناس كانوا عندهم ميادين. They have very big structure. لكن أنا كان تبيو ميدان تنزين. أنا كان تبيو ياتو ميدان. أنا كان تبيو ياتو ميدان. Even now in our area, the only field that is left with us is only ميدان أجرا.
Rock.
ميدان Upper Nile University ولا تانا التجاه شلال. Yet كان في ميادين إنك كتير لكن تقولي go the water and tile ده شيلو كده وده شيلو كده. Who is going to be fixed?
Yeah. Let me just come in one of the biggest challenge is funding these activities. And that's what's make it challenging for this group to also to maybe embrace peace, because the way we are as a country, among youth there's lack of employment. No group of youth can raise good money to organize an event. The only things, like most of these community association, community sport association, even churches, they are funded by politicians who have stolen money. So what do you do? So you are vulnerable. There's no, you are weak. Positionally you are weak. As youth, you want to organize yourself. A politician will come with the money. Then what do? They say whoever pay, the piper. Yes. So I think that is one of the challenge. Also, they will never be independent. Even churches, you see politicians going there, they want to, maybe they have no light and what, a politician will come with a generator. So that time the politician will be given opportunity to give a statement on Sunday when we're supposed to hear the word of God. And this politician will also put his agenda.
And his party.
And it's another way of that he will view those congregations as he wants them to be his supporter. The same to community sport tournament. They are funded by these politicians or these business people with bad intention, business people coming with bad intention. And then you see them also allying them. You can even see this community sport tournament, allying them with, even sometimes you see SPLM there, you see other parties there influencing them. So this is one of the biggest challenges. How do they get their funding?
On the posters.
Yes, you see them. Yeah.
So, do you think international exposure and tournaments are helping change how South Sudan is seen in the global sports? I mean, if you look at our teams, basically you have some of them who have been living abroad, majority of them who have been living abroad. So what does this mean to the future of those who are inside South Sudan? And how can this team be used to inspire other generations in order for the country to have good talents?
Yeah, before my colleague come in, I think there's one thing that, in this world you need a role model, okay?
Yes.
You need a real role model, and South Sudan role model was Manut, okay? So everybody want to see himself, if you are a good player, if you want to be like Manut. So the same, now we have many Manut now. Okay, we have many Manut bull. So all these children in South Sudan, they want to see themselves like this guy, Omot, Deng, got caught, all those guys, they want to be like them. And this guy, this young boy, he had just made 18, the one with the, who was gotten, who was enlisted in basketball, NBA. So at home here, there's a lot of, there's internet penetration now, even in remote area. They see those people, these young people, they see his plan, especially if you look at kids in the village of, the one in Lagos State is called, the guy who was enlisted recently is called what? The number 10 in NBA. It's from Lagos State. Makam?
One of the coming stars.
Yeah, it's called Makam or something. Yeah. In his village now, everybody won't be like him. Okay? In Umod villages, people who see themselves, proximity. This is ours. Those who knows where Umod come from, let me say, if he come from Pachala, children in Pachala will be thinking, I want to be like Umod. So that thing is if you have, this is the beginning. You have a role model. We had one, now we have many of them. So this seeing role model in front of you, it will motivate more young men to make it hard, even in that dirty wherever. Even this guy really worked hard.
He was in Kampala, right?
Yeah, he was in Kampala. And
now he's in the US.
Yeah, somebody saw him say,
so
you are tall.
From any other part, from the rural or
anyone you can.
Let me take it from where it comes to the role model is very important. For me, when I was a young boy, the time was Maradona. Number 10, it was very, okay, in boxing, we think about Mike Tyson, Carl Lewis, Ben Johnson, when it comes to the athletes. Like, I want to be like him. When you see them doing that, you want to be like them. Now, things change. You see the companies now, they advertise, they put his picture up, instead of bringing other foreigners in the posters. Why don't we bring our heroes, we put them there on this poster? So even when someone is passing by, look at him, I want to be like this. Even though the foreigners was coming from outside, when they see like, this is South Sudanese.
That's a great idea.
So this is how can we promote ourselves. This is how can we sell ourselves. But we're most of the posters have been putting the pictures of the foreigners, of the even people. They have nothing to do with us. They have nothing to do with us. Why don't we put our own pictures? It's not just all about. It's not just all about the politicians. Like, okay, we have these national basketball teams for females. Why don't we take some big posters? We post them like in Jirekeke and where. So even those young girls, when they look at, they start asking them who are those and how they reach there. Yeah. So this will motivate them to do some work to join those teams.
Actually, to add on what you asked. I feel like the diaspora talent really boosts the country, right? It boosts the image of the country, because like now, not many people now know us for bad stories. They say, the giant of Africa. Giant of Africa, because we won, on our first time, we won the African AFCON for basketball, right? So it's a little bit of a booster when it comes to the foreign athlete. But it will be of a back-sitter for us because with the high performance, they'll be like, because I mean, like I mentioned, Shabab and Suvar and Bajai and Tehina, whereby they really work hard, but if their names are being put outside there, for police because finance and already so why not we can work it together because like with the challenges that Kwame already mentioned, the infrastructure gap, it can fix all of that.
I think those guys now they're working hard. I think Lual has academy here. The other two players, I think Omar also another player. They start opening some basketball academies here. In footballs also we have academies. I think yes, we need to expand the ideas like handball also is there, volleyball. Then I'm sure 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the things will completely change.
Talk about funding.
With the growth opportunities, I think where we can tap in with the youth academies, that the NBA junior is already being done in South Sudan with the help of Lual Deng Foundation. Also the return of the athlete abroad, the diaspora, because we have seen Emma Lasso coming 1 to 2 times trying to uplift the ladies in the football games as well. And when it comes to as well the local leagues, it needed to be expanded. I don't know how with the football as well being done outside of Juba because the league and leagues which are happening in Juba.
This one, like no. This one we have an excuse for it. Even for me, I still believe we need to play our games here in Juba because this is the only a national stadium that with the FIFA
facility, good facility.
Yeah, because like can you imagine even with this fence? Also yesterday, most of the fans they invaded the ground. So can you imagine? Most of the other states they don't have
football field.
Yeah, with the
stadium.
Fans. In case anything happen, things will not be easy to be controlled. So for time being, even the security, the road, the cost, all those things will hinder us from playing the games from the state to states. But right now, I think until we pass, we can keep playing Premier League here in Juba by support those teams.
Even on top of that, like partnership, how can the Minister of Sport partner? Because like South Sudan is already part of the league when it comes to NBA, when it comes to FIFA, when it comes even to the Olympic programs. Why not those ones that we have in South Sudan can reach out to the main offices, right?
I think we signed number of memorandum of understanding. 2 weeks or last month, we have like 5 female goalkeeper coaches. They attend a 2 weeks training in Saudi Arabia. South Sudanese female coach goalkeepers. Coaches, they attend a 5 or 7 days training in Saudi Arabia. We have more understanding with Morocco, Egypt. I think it's just how to activate those memorandum of understanding.
Okay. I think my last is just how to really for the infrastructure to be solid when it comes to the stadiums, when it comes to the courts, when it comes to the pitches, also the grassroots programs, including the communities, the schools, how to get those young ones with talent and put them really outside there to better their talent and their skills in terms of sport. And as well as strong governance in federation, in the different federation sport that we're having. Let it not be politicized. Let it be really meant for sport. And Frederick and Dele sport, I feel like there are more talent that could be brought out.
Right. Before I get your last remarks, Daniel, just take us through briefly with the elections at the South Sudan, what do you call it, Federal?
South Sudan Football Federation. They changed the name during the last General Assembly. Actually, today is the final day for the current administration, which is led by the General Agostino Madut. So he was the 4th president. I think the first one was the Speaker of the National Legislative Assembly, Oliver Mori, followed by Shabur Gojalei.
The spokesperson.
Yes, he was the first. Yeah, he was the first, the president of SSFA at that time. Then followed by
immediately after independence.
Yes.
Okay.
Really. 2012.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Then followed by Francis Amin. Then now followed by the
Shabur.
Shabur was the second after Oliver Benjamin Mori.
Okay.
Then Francis was the 3rd. Then General was the 4th. So the one who's been elected today would be the first president for the South Sudan Football Association Federation.
So it seems nobody take 2 terms. After taking 2 terms, all of them one term.
No.
No, he's actually running again.
He's running again. If
I'm talking about the previous one.
No.
Nobody took 2 terms.
No.
Okay.
If he manage this time, he will be like 2 times.
The first person to be to take 2 terms.
Yes, 2 terms.
To win 2 terms.
Yes.
And that will be his last term if he wins.
Yes, exactly. Now, according to the rules and regulations, there are about each local state, each local football association in the state, they send a delegate. We have like 38 delegates plus a delegate from football, from female committee, then coaches committee, then referee committees. Those will join those delegates, which will be about like 38, to vote for the electing the president, the vice president, the first, the vice president, second vice president, and the executive office today. So from tomorrow, we'll be having a new leadership in the office of South Sudan Football Federation.
I know you guys will talk a lot about this on the sport show tomorrow. But let's get your last remarks or message, if you have any, to the viewer with regard to the sports industry in South Sudan, and just reflecting on what we discussed, particularly the progress that South Sudan makes on the sports stage, global stage.
Yeah, I call myself a lucky person because, one, among the people in this country who will be proud of witnessing independence, having a country, voting for referendum, and also a person who also we have seen a positive development in the country apart from the war, but at least in the sport. We are doing, like, our names has gone. Even people who have never heard about South Sudan now, they know where is South Sudan, and I'm proud South Sudanese. And we need to continue with this spirit as a country, regardless of what is going on in the country. Everything has an end, and this war will come to an end, and we'll go for election, and we'll have a good country. And a lot of good news will be coming, better than what is happening, what our countrymen and women are showing us now from sport.
Okay, Diko?
And I think, as I mentioned earlier on, if really South Sudan tried to invest in the grassroots, let me say, growth and the strong governance in terms of let me say, the federations, I feel like in 10 years, South Sudan will be a very strong powerhouse for sport in East Africa, because like within a very short period of time, South Sudan have really proved something else in terms of basketball in specific, when it comes to both genders, male and female. So I feel like with football, or even athletics, when it comes to boxing, there are many sports that really can be brought out of South Sudan, but it's just require, let me say, the top leaders to do something about it. Then definitely with the help of the right people in the right position in terms of coaching and hunting for the right talent, definitely it will be viable in this country.
Right.
Also, I'm against political issues, but let me say it from that way. Let me give tips to some politicians, like next year we'll be having election. So it's a chance for us now to change the concept with the youth. It's like we're not the way, most of those political parties, now the youth having that concept, that ideas, they're not supporting us, they're not after us, they're thinking about themselves. So you can use the sport to break that gap with the youth, so at least they can vote for you. You convince them, okay, before we're having some difficulties, but now buy them some balls, some football balls, some t-shirts, some sport
kits.
This may change their narrative about you as a political party.
Giving a tip to one political party. I wish I got one. Yes, indeed. I think I won't suffer from any low self-esteem when I go to the UK again, because I remember when we went as iRadio team for that training, and we were asked, where is South Sudan? So they were wondering where South Sudan is. I felt so odd about that. So, but I think with the great achievements, now we're on the global map. and everybody understands about my country, I'll be proud to speak about South Sudan. Even if we say, yeah, we do well, of course. Every country has crisis. Everywhere now, even Russia is having crisis. So what is it? So I'll be able to have a ground to to brag around. Yeah, thank you, Kong Palchanka, for the insight and Diko. I didn't know you really love sport, and you were so enthusiastic about that. And our great
you let me go now
sports
to
journalist,
end up
of course. Wish you all the best. You give us a lot of update on what is going to transpire with the voting that will be taking place, as we opt to have either new or retain the same leader of the South Sudan Football Federation. But your message have actually gone wider, and whoever is new or old will think about them. So thank you, viewer, for having stayed glued to this program. Let's have an edition of the Around South Sudan podcast next time when we return. From me to you, do have a great weekend.
Hallelujah. I mean,
Are we still in?
what is the update? Are you seeing any update?
Each week, we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development,